Hello everyone. I'm Naomi Mc Laughlan from the Professional Home Educator Academy.com. And today's webinar is all about helping you decide whether our training program is for you or not. So let's get right into the content because as I'm guessing, you got little ones who need your attention and everyone is busy. So So today's webinar's title is Creating a Peaceful Homeschool Environment Can Mean the Difference Between Success and Failure. And I can tell you so much about it as I have tried and tested many different ways, and I have realized without a plan, it is very difficult to succeed. And what I mean by that is that you waste a lot of time, you demotivate yourself, you get distracted easily if you don't know what you're doing. I know some people like to de-school, as they call it, which basically means they have no plan whatsoever. They provide a certain type of environment, in form of books and materials, and their children can choose what they want to do. I see many good points in doing so, but unfortunately, I do believe you're lacking structure. And I mean, while it's great for little children who still have to explore and play and especially learn a lot by just playing along, I think, especially for older children, this might just be too destructive if you can imagine, do what you want all day long. So I'm really certain that a type of plan does provide you with either success or failure. And if you just consider the years ongoing, depending on your plan to homeschool just for a year or to cover some time or to catch up or whatever reason it might be for you personally. For me, I think that if you have a plan, you know your goals, you know your objectives, you know your learning outcomes, it's much easier for everyone involved, especially for children who always want to have some kind of structure. They want to know what time something starts, even if it's just their favorite television program. They want to get themselves prepared and turn up at the right time. Or if you go to the cinema or take part in a hobby group or any social gathering, there's certainly a time to start and to end something. So children can easily accept, and I think they even want to have some form of structure. So let's go into the content for today. Homeschooling is very broad because each and every family is very individual, and I think you can't make an all-fit one program really, because each and everyone has to pick and select what fits for your family or what doesn't. And also, even if you pick, you might find that after a short while, you realize it doesn't work, so you try something else. So the first module of the Professional Home Educator Academy video training is all about introduction. You learn about a little bit about myself, why I started, how I started, and how overwhelmed I was at first when I started to home teach my children a couple of years ago, and how I had to gather all the materials and then eventually did some seminars, went back to college to learn how to teach children properly. Because I just didn't want to just swim along and go with the flow and just miss something out or something. So, so the introduction gives you an overview really about what's going to happen in the upcoming modules. So that's in the introduction module 1. And as we follow on to the next modules, you are gonna be able to create a homeschool program for each individual child. So I'm absolutely behind the idea of individuality. Children are so diverse. They have so many different interests. They're at different stages, even though they might be at the same age. Obviously, at some point with their peer group, they still sometimes tend to struggle in one subject but not in the other. So I think there's not one, as I said before, one fits all program. So um, in module 2, that's the next module, is the curriculum and teaching approach. So you can decide what type of first of all, in the module, we discuss what type of curriculum to choose, whether you want to go for the national curriculum or whether you want to make up your own. So you get some ideas, what subjects are relevant to what type of age group. But again, it's completely up to you what at the end you're going to choose. And then the teaching approaches. I mean, some people do tend to believe that homeschooling is either no approach or one-on-one all day long, you talking, your child learning, whereby that's the typical mainstream school approach, isn't it? I mean, if the teacher keeps talking, like I do in this webinar now, um, and the other person learning, which whereby I find this obviously, I mean, if you introduce a new subject and a new theme for a couple of weeks or months or however long you're working on it, then this is great. But obviously, there are other ways of teaching as well. So that's curriculum and teaching in module 2. And then if we follow on in module 3, it's organizing your homeschool. And it's all about how to keep order and how to keep track of your homeschool. I mean, even though it's not a school setting as such, like having different type of classrooms or anything like mainstream, you still do want to have all your materials to hand and not be searching for anything. Because I can tell you from experience, it goes very easily and smoothly. I mean, everything in terms of homeschooling, if you know what you're doing and you know where your materials are and you are quite prepared. Because if you're not, children tend to be distracted very easily, especially, for instance, if the telephone rings or someone comes to the door, because yeah, people do tend to think, oh yeah, they're homeschooling, so they're in all day and I got time all day to just pop in or come by and just, I mean, have some fun time with you, which is great for your neighbors and friends and family members. But obviously, you do want your child to learn something. So, module 3 is all about what I use, what I tend to find helpful, and then also looking at what other people do and other families have found helpful. I mean, in terms of organizing your homeschool. And then in module 4, it's all about routines, which and then provides you with ideas how to structure your day, your week, your month, your year. I mean, how you can think about, for instance, learning objectives and strategies and goals you want to accomplish, and also you want your child to accomplish, and yeah, how to keep your routines. Really, that's module 4. And in module 5, that's one of my favorite modules because I'm personally affected, is the special education needs and learning difficulties. And I find this module very helpful for families who struggle in mainstream schools. And that's not just because you have a child with special needs. It's also applicable for children who don't have, for instance, a diagnosis or anything, but who just struggle with some structure in a mainstream school or in daily life. So, yeah, this module is definitely helpful. Gives you loads of ideas, loads of insight what you can do differently. So to give you an example, instead of having just a worded out timetable where you just have the words, you might incorporate something like a visual timetable. And even a visual timetable can be prepared in different ways. So that's all in module 5. So again, looking at how can you tailor make your child's curriculum and teaching as helpful and as successful as possible. Module 6 is about friends, which is a big theme for many outsiders who have never come across homeschoolers and who have pre ideas, mainly false ones, like you're isolating yourself, you're isolating your children, sorry. So yeah, Module 6 is all about friends, how you can accomplish um, keeping friends outside the home and taking part in hobby groups, for instance. Yeah, finding ideas how you can still integrate yourself in your community without being a part of a school structure. So that's all in Module 6. Then in Module 7, it's all about motivation. So it's your personal motivation as the parent, carer, and also teacher or home educator, and also how to keep your children motivated, which I find is a very interesting module because you get some ideas how to keep on going and how to switch something up and what to do. Module 8 is all about tests and exams. And I know many people think homeschooling, you don't need any tests, you don't need any exams. That is correct in most countries. Let's say in the US and also in the UK, there's no need to have any tests, any exams whatsoever. Now comes my personal but. I believe it's very helpful for children to have a test and an exam once in a while. And that's not only because one day your child or children will eventually, have to not necessarily go back to a mainstream school, but if they become an apprentice, if they want to continue on in the university or anywhere else, I think giving them an idea how to prepare themselves for tests and exams is quite good. And it also helps them to feel successful. Like you can prepare your own certificates and your own test papers or exam papers. And I find them great. And especially my children, they loved having a printout or something like a marked paper. And it's not necessarily about the grades they receive or anything like that, but it's just an achievement and something positive and even motivational. And I don't mean like in a normal school where you have competition or anything like that. That's not why I would tend to test or write a little exam. It's just like a completion of something you've done for a certain number of weeks or days or months even, just to have something like, a structured approach of finishing off a time period. And I think that's quite nice. And then on the other side, it also in module 8, we don't just look at the tests and exams you do at home, but also the tests and exams you could take outside of home. So, for instance, in the UK, taking part in GCSE exams or in SATs tests, which you could both do as an external student or your children, obviously. And in the US, there are also courses where you can, not courses, exams, which your child or children could take and be part of as external students. So again, it's good to have a little structure there because it gives your child or children really the ability to know, okay, this is testing time, so I have to get myself prepared, and it's just a review of what we've done. And then I have a result at the end, which is an accomplishment. Because even if your child tends to not pass a test you prepared home, it gives certainly yourself and your child a view of where are they. Are they at the lower bottom end, or are they in the middle? Did they get everything you wanted them to accomplish? That they understand all the objectives of the subject? And if not, there's no problem. There's not like, oh yeah, you have to do another year the same class or the same material. You could just add some material, make it more interesting, or make it more broad or more specified depending on what the needs of your child or children are. So it's really, again, like I always say, it's individuality. Not every child gets it the first time. So, and also not with the same teaching approach, and sometimes not with the same material, or with, let's say, with the same books or worksheets or anything. So you might have to then have a look at the test or exam and then see, oh, all right, okay, that's what we've missed, or this could be an area we can go deeper in and learn at a deeper level. And if your child is ahead, ahead of time, then again it gives you the idea of, oh wow, all right, that's a point where we could go a little bit deeper and have a look outside and just explore the world really. All right, so in the last module, we're going to have a look at work. How can you use everything you've learned so far from module 1 to module 8 to integrate and to interlink and to make it possible for you to still work, even though I know not everyone has to work. So some couples are lucky to being able to live off one paycheck or one salary, but that's obviously not always possible. So in this case, you do need to have a proper structure set up so that nobody gets demotivated or stressed out or everything overcomplicates whatsoever. So in this case, Module 9 is all about work. How can you still maintain work? Either looking at ways of part-time employment, for instance, or taking shifts, being self-employed, working from home. There's so many ways that you're able to home educate and work at the same time if you have to. That's obviously a choice, but I find that if you don't look at work and if you just assume that it will all just work out, unfortunately, that's in most cases with most of the families I've come across and I'm in contact with, it's not the case. Some people just don't think about it at first and then realize, oh, that's so stressful, and how can they? How's that all? Is it worthwhile to home educate and to work at the same time? And I can, from my perspective, I can say yes, you can work, and yes, you can homeschool. It is possible, but it does need some, from my perspective, some structure and some organization, and that's definitely something you want to consider. So it is in module 9. So yes, I'm so happy you've come a long way listening to my voice only. So I hope this was helpful into giving you an overview of what we are doing in the video training program. And if you have any questions, please drop me a line. You can always send me an email at info@professionalhomeeducatoracademy.com. And I will certainly answer all your questions, or I will hope to be able to answer all your questions, but I guess I will. And if not, I would be very, very happy if you take the course up and just see how it can help you and your family to start a successful home education and home situation. Yeah, you know what I mean. All right, so if you haven't already, please do us a favor and like us on Facebook. And that's not just to create loads and loads of likes, but also gives you the ability to receive any updates, any news we have, because it would automatically come up on your wall as well. So that's one other thing. Like I said, if you have any questions, please email me, and you can find the video training program on www.professionalhomeeducatoracademy.com. And currently, the course is quite. We've halved the price, and we've refunded half of all our course participants, because we thought we can reach so many families if we make it less expensive and much more affordable for all the families. So currently the price for the course is $48.50 in dollars and $29.77, and that's an approximate in pounds. So obviously it's paid by PayPal, so it will automatically convert into your own currency. And oh, I forgot to say, this course is not only for people who live in the US or the UK. It doesn't matter where you live, because teaching approaches, curriculum, work, motivation, and so on, all our modules are applicable worldwide. It doesn't matter where you live. I mean, obviously, yes, you might find that in particular countries or even areas within your country, you have certain laws which are special to the area or country you live in. That's true. But overall, home education as such, as a subject, is applicable to anyone. I mean, anyone worldwide, whether you live in South Africa, in America, in, let's say, France, in England, wherever you live worldwide, or in New Zealand. I mean, it doesn't count. Yeah, so it is certainly an international applicable structure, I would say, because home education, I mean, every child needs education. So I hope this was helpful for you. I really enjoyed this webinar. So if you have a question, like I said, please drop me a line and like us on Facebook and sign up for the course. So I hope you have a lovely, lovely day. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope to speak to you soon. So goodbye for today.